Good evening. This is Michael Blalock, and I'm sharing my screen to show some of the wonderful new activities that are part of this week's lessons. We first received two spreadsheets, one for student attendance for just males and a second for females. And the idea was to try to combine those two. One of the key ways to do that was to use our new AbleBits data. I chose to use the combined screen functions and was able to combine those two worksheets into one by following through in the wizard that was here. The combined spreadsheet came together, as you can see, with all the males. And then as we dash down much further, we can see that the females were also added. And then took the folder and renamed it Combined Attendance Original, so that as I was creating histograms, that data would remain constant so that I could come back and utilize the data again for other activities. As the instructions were provided to us, I was able to highlight columns that I needed to delete because they weren't valid for the next activity that I was going to do. As I followed along with the instructions to looking at the first grade data, be able to use the functions for minimum and maximum of the total eligible days that were present. I had created my class limit in increments of 25 and then utilized the data analysis tools that we have to analyze the information that was under this column G for total eligible days present. As I created the histogram, the bin that I had created in 25 increments and gave me a frequency chart here of 21 students up to 887, reached a maximum of 170 days. Even though I had set the bin at 175 because I was using 25 increments, after I had completed it, realized that since 170 was the highest that they could have, that it would be more accurate data for the final point here on the axis would be the 170, which shows that there were 887 students who completed that. Because the spread was so great, the lower numbers were not really significant on the graph itself. And so I did add the data labels to my file, to the chart itself, and was able to then be able to see the values for the days that students are present, and was able to change the X and Y axis information to be more accurate as showing the data. I continued on to the next exercise where I changed the ethnicity to a value that Excel could read, and created the code book, which gave again a value for each of the ethnicities that are here. And then back in the chart, was able to use the replace and find function to be able to make those changes to add all 7 of the different ethnicities again into a number so that Excel could in fact read that. So after creating the code book that showed all of the different ethnicities and with them having a value, I created another copy of the folders by using the move and copy function. And in this instance, I wasn't sure how many grades were actually in the chart. And so I used the minimum and maximum functions to be able to see that they went from grade 1 to 12. As I was doing more, I found kindergarten down below. And so the histogram that I was creating showed the ethnicities in grade 12. That's why I did the minimum and maximum for the grades. And I used the count function for the range that included the 12th grade. When I created this histogram, we're able to see, since I have the code book available and I added it to the spreadsheet, that for Asians, there were only 17. Again, adding the data labels to the graph itself, 33 for Black or African Americans, 451 for Hispanics and Latinos, 17 for 2 or more races, 280 for white, 2 Native Hawaiian, and 1 American Indian or Alaska Native. I think it would be helpful, of course, to be able to have a legend that explains what each of the numbers represent. So without the code book, it doesn't give you as clear a picture. And so I'll be looking to what I can do to be able to add a legend in to make that better for the next opportunity. Thank you so much for the time and the additional information. Excel's a great program, and these tools will make it much easier to continue to analyze data.